So, as per the latest report by UBS, the latest Global Wealth Report 2024 suggests that the world is getting progressively richer across all wealth segments. Now, this report also says that inequality has increased over the years in fast growing markets. Wealth growth has lost steam almost everywhere, says this latest UBS report. And it also says that in mainland China and India, average annual wealth growth has more than halved since 2010. It also says that look, Indians are getting richer despite wealth growth halving, and wealth growth has lost steam almost everywhere. Wealth mobility has been more likely to be upward than downward, and a great horizontal wealth transfer is underway at the moment. Now, to decode the latest UBS report, I'm joined by Mitali Nikor, senior economist. Mitali, thanks very much for your time. First, the world getting progressively richer across all wealth segments is as far as the report is saying, but it's also saying that look, inequality has increased over the years in fast growing markets. So, what should we make of this?
So, basically, Sakshi, when I first read this, I was also quite surprised. Okay, on one side, you're saying wealth is growing, on the other side, you're saying no, actually, it's slowing down. So, there are two or three effects that we should break down and view it very simply. The first effect is that yes, wealth is increasing, but it's not increasing as fast as it used to increase. So there are two major time segments that the report talks about. It talks about one time segment which is like around 2008 to 2000, basically between 2000 to 2010. And then it gives a second segment which is 2010 to 2023. So the basic argument the report is making is that between 2000 to 2010, our growth, for example, in India, wealth growth was 14%. And 2010 to 2023, this same wealth growth had actually become half, it was 7%. So, the overall annual averages have halved. So, it's not like wealth is not increasing, but the pace at which the wealth is increasing has slowed down. So, that's the first thing that we need to understand. Now, the second thing that has happened is that over these last 2, 3 decades, we have seen a increase in income inequality. So, for example, in India, we have seen income inequality increase by 16% between this 2010 to 2023 period. Now, what this means is, of course, that rich are getting richer, but that does not mean that the poor are getting poorer. It means that the poor are also improving in their standard of living, but not as fast as the rich. So if my earnings are going up and your earnings are also going up, if you are richer than me, your earnings are going up faster. But that doesn't mean that if I'm a poorer person, my earnings are not going up. Make sense?
Right. Yes. Thanks very much for decoding that for our viewers with this example. But the fact of the matter is, Mitali, they're saying that wealth growth has lost steam almost everywhere. They're also saying in this report that wealth mobility has been more likely to be upward than downward. What do we make of this?
So, what we make of this is they have decoded a very interesting effect. The interesting effect that they've decoded is called horizontal mobility of wealth. So, what they're essentially finding is that across the world, there are, we know that men control the assets way more than women. Men typically own large assets of wealth. Now, when a spouse passes away, it is typically likely to be the man because he is older in the relationship. This wealth then passes on to his wife, who inherits this wealth and holds on to it for an average of 4 to 5 years. Across the world, this is a average finding they have. This is not as though this is going to be true in every case, but an average horizontal transfer of wealth is what they are observing across developed economies and emerging economies, but much more so in developed economies. What this means is that if you are a banker or a wealth management person whose entire career is based on wealth management, you should be engaging with more women because they are the ones who are going to be controlling a lot of this wealth through the horizontal transfer.
All right, so that's very, very interesting there. But of course, that's based on this conventional thought process, like you mentioned, and this average that they're getting across the world. Now, what else the report is highlighting is the fact that, look, Indians are getting richer despite growth halving, essentially. So, as far as India is concerned, how can we contain this inequality? How can we battle, going forward, this rising inequality that they're witnessing across the world, as per this report?
Yes. So India is amongst those countries, like when we look at the set of countries that have been analyzed by this report, India is somewhere in the middle in terms of increasing inequality. Like I mentioned, it's about 16% increase. There are many countries which are above this level also, like Spain, South Africa, Brazil. These countries, even Finland is one of those countries which, we typically associate with being a very developed and egalitarian society, but it has observed a massive increase in wealth inequality. So, what we need to do is take measures for progressive taxation, take measures for income redistribution, for ensuring that the poorer sections of the population, the low income sections of the population are receiving support from government benefits and social security. For middle classes also, we need more and more government services to be provided, so that they can actually come up the curve and participate more and more in the economy and benefit more and more from the growth that the economy is seeing. So at the end of the day, a whole package of measures required for tackling inequality in that sense.
Right, and how can India and the rest of the world focus on then increasing this average annual wealth growth, which seems to have more than halved since 2010?
So at the end of the day, Sakshi, I'm not sure, if the world can really focus on increasing wealth growth, because at the end of the day, wealth growth is a very complex function. I was actually listening to, the chief economist of UBS, who was, talking about what are the factors that have led to the slowing in the wealth growth, and one of them is actually population. So, there are a number of economies like Japan, for example, which have seen a massive slowdown in the wealth growth because their population is declining. So, at the end of the day, I don't know if our target can really be to increase wealth growth. I do
Right.
feel that as a global economy going forward, our target should be wealth redistribution and
Right.
focusing on ensuring that the massive sections of the population have access to equal opportunities, and only then will more innovation be unlocked, because if the wealth remains locked within few families or within few people, then those opportunities are not going to people who may have brilliant, for example, startup ideas, and can be the next generation of wealth creators and wealth generators. So, with wealth redistribution, we can unlock wealth growth.
Absolutely. And Mitali, as someone who looks at the Indian economy so closely, if I were to then, look at this and say, okay, how can India focus on redistributing wealth, and how can India sort of at least contain this inequality?
I do think, Sakshi, that our focus in the last few years, which has been very strongly on the startup culture and on building entrepreneurship, is the way forward. It is one of the right policy directions that our government has taken to emphasize on Startup India, Stand Up India, and these kind of schemes, to ensure that those who have very bright ideas for coming up with new businesses and wealth generation, mechanisms should be supported. I do think that our markets, our VC markets, our markets for actually investing in early stage startups are still not mature enough. We need to put in a lot more focus, both from the private sector side, ideally from the angel investor side, and from the entire investing community, to improving the systems and processes for risk assessments and evaluating new entrepreneurs, and even on the government side to ensure that money, essentially an investment that is required for entrepreneurship, goes to rural areas as well. So I think both on the private sector side and on the public sector side, we need to do a lot more to ensure that capital flows to those with ideas.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for sharing your thoughts, and, of course, for decoding this report for our viewers.